rectangle in your view, and it'll bring the popover up and point to that. So for example, let's imagine you have some text and someone double clicks a word and then they want to define the word or copy the word or something like that. I probably wouldn't use it for copy and paste, but do something with that word. And then you might say show from rect and give the rectangle of the word. You see what I mean? So this is what iBooks does. You select a word and you say define, it'll make a little popover. That's not an action sheet, but it'll make a little popover. So you can do the same thing with action sheets. Okay, so on the iPad you're going to use show from rect, show from bar button item. On the iPhone it almost doesn't matter which one you use, it's going to come up from the bottom. Finding out which button is chosen, this is the delegate method you get, did dismiss with button index. It's all done by button index. You can look up which is the cancel button, which is the destructive button, which are the other buttons. You can also get the button title and index and compare it to the one that was chosen. Be a little careful there if you're doing localization because your action sheet might have localized words in it and then you want to see which one is chosen. Make sure you're comparing the localized words, right? Or otherwise just use indexes if you want to kind of be more localization independent. You can programmatically dismiss an action sheet, and why would you ever want to do this? Okay, you put up an action sheet, a decision branch thing. Why would you ever want to dismiss it yourself? Well, the main reason is you get put in the background. Okay, so anytime you have an action sheet up and someone clicks the home button to go to another app, you should dismiss that action sheet. Okay, why would you do that? Well, because when the user comes back to you, they'll probably be that could be the next day. They might be kind of confused why this action sheet is up. They don't remember why they forced that branching decision. So you're better to go back to the previous step for them and let them choose that branching decision again and make the action sheet come back up. So how do you find out you entered the background? There's this nice radio station UI application did enter background notification. You just listen to that, boom, you'll find out you were put in the background. Just dismiss the action sheet. And you know how to do this with blocks, so it's really, really easy. One-liner. When you put up the action sheet, you just put a one-liner in there that when it gets to this radio station, just dismisses it. Okay? There's special popover considerations. We have the same problem here with popover action sheets that we had when we did Photomania, where we kept pressing a URL and we got more and more and more and more and more of them. Okay, same thing here. You have to be careful if your action sheet's already up, don't put it up again. Okay? So, alert view. Alert view can have multiple buttons like the one on the left. It can also have a little text field in it like the one on the right, which is kind of fun. And its API looks exactly like action sheet. You can add buttons programmatically. Showing it is always just the one method, show, because alerts always come up in the middle of the screen. I think I said only table view controllers will move out of the way. Alerts will also move out of the way. If you bring up a keyboard because there's a text field in your alert, the alert will move up. Okay? So anyway, show. On either iPad or iPhone, you just do show. Here's how you get a text field in your alert. You just say alert.alertViewStyle equals one of these styles that has text, secure text, plain text, login and password. And then you get the text field, so you can get the text out of them by alertView text field at index. Okay, index 0 if there's only one text field, index 0 and 1 if there's login and password, for example. So that's how you can get text field. All right. Time for the demo. So I'm going to show all of these things in the demo. And like I said, what we're going to do is we're going to enhance Photomania so that it can, so the user can take photos with their camera. Okay. Now we're not actually going to get to the camera part today, but we're going to do all the rest of it. Most importantly, we're going to do that modal segue and unwind segue to put this view controller up that's going to ask for the photo. Okay, it's going to be a view controller. Its only job is to let the user take a picture with the camera, give it a title and subtitle, find out their location. Okay, I'm going to go back and show you core location demo here because I never showed you that before. And then now I can create a photo because I've got all the pieces, title, subtitle, image, I'll make a thumbnail, and then the location. Now I can make a photo, put it in the database. Okay, everyone understand what we're going to do? Okay, let's dive right in here. Let's show coming up because I'm not going to go back to the slides. I'll continue this demo by doing the actual camera part, and then I'm also going to talk about core motion, which is accelerometer, gyro, all that stuff on Wednesday, okay, with another demo. Friday's section is Sprite Kit, which is a new iOS 7 kit for doing 2.5D games. Okay, games that look 3D, but they're really made out of 2D images. And then next week we have off, and then when we come back, we'll have some more miscellaneous topics. Okay, so Photomania, where is it? Okay, so just before class, I added one thing to Photomania. I'm going to show you the code I added. What I did was I added a photographer to my database for the user. Okay, this is a photographer, the user, who's using my device. Okay, that's because I'm going to add photos. The user, he or she, is going to be the photographer. So how did I do that? I added these two methods to my photographer category here. User in managed object context, that gives me a photographer for the user, unique photographer. And then isUser, which just tells me whether a particular photographer is the user. And the implementation of these, I kind of went cheapo, probably be much better ways to do this. But I just created a photographer with the name My Photos, and I put a space bar at the beginning so it would sort at the beginning. But really the way to do this would be to add another attribute to your photographer, which is the user. And then when you sort, you would sort by that first, and then secondarily by the name. And that would make it so that this name wouldn't have to be unique, because it would be that attribute set. And then here I'm just checking to see if the user is self. So that's all it is, user is. Okay? The only other line of code I added to this was I always create this magic user in AppDelegate when the database context becomes available. Okay? That's it. Everyone understand what I did so far? I've shown you everything. So let's look what this looks like. So here I'm running Photomania, and you can see right here at the beginning, I have a photographer, My Photos, and I can click on it. It'll show all my photos. I don't have any yet because we haven't hooked up this whole camera business. But what I'm going to do in this UI is, when I'm looking at My Photos, I'm going to add a little button up here, looks like a camera, and it's going to modally present a view controller that lets me take a picture and put it in the database. Okay? Good. All right, so that's what we're going to do. We're just going to add this here. Now, that camera, we don't want that camera button here when we're looking at Night Flyer. Okay, we don't want that Night Flyer to be able to add one, so we're only going to do it when it's My Photos. Okay? All right, so how are we going to do that? Let's go look at our view. We're going to do this on the iPhone. Probably not going to get around to doing it on the iPad on Wednesday. We'll just do it iPhone only. Here is my list of photographers. Here is that map view with the photos by a given photographer. Here's where I want to have that little map button. So I'm just going to go down here and grab a bar button item. Here's one right here. Put it here. I could say the word camera or take photo or something here, but it actually turns out there's a nice built-in one for camera. Woo, built-in bar button item. Boop, looks good. Okay. So again, I only want to have this camera appear when I'm showing the photographer who is the user. Okay? So I'm going to put a little bit of code in my Photos by Photographer map view controller, which is the code for that thing, to only show that button in that circumstance. So first of all, I'm going to create a little, let's go back here, sorry. I'm going to create a little outlet to it. Trying to make more space here as I show these. Okay, so here is this guy right here, and I'm going to go to the .m. So here's my Photos by Photographer map view controller. That's this. That's where this is. So I'm going to control drag from this little button right here to make an outlet for it. I'm going to call it the Add Photo Bar Button item. Okay, so I got my Add Photo Bar Button item. And now I'm just going to put a little bit of code that only puts that here if my current photographer, here's where I set my photographer for this thing, is the user. So I'm going to have a little method here. I'm going to call it self update add photo bar button item. And I'm just going to have a little, this update this thing. We need photographer create for that because that's where that thing we just added. All right, so here's what I just typed in right here really fast. And you can look at this offline. There's nothing really new to teach you here, so I'm not going to go through it. But suffice it to say, it's just updating the right bar button items of this navigation item right here to have this or not. So let's go take a look. OK, so we go here. It's got this. Go back here. Doesn't have it. You see? Okay, so that's good. So now we need to make it so when we press this, we do this modal segue to a new UI. So let's go do that. Back to our iPhone storyboard, make space. All right, so let's make this new UI that we want to do that. So I'm going to create a new view controller here. Drag this out. There's my new view controller. Okay, maybe we'll line it up there nicely. And what is this view controller going to have in it? Well, let's see. I'm going to drag a whole bunch of nice stuff out here. It wants a cancel button. So let's do a cancel. Okay, that's if I decide, I don't really want to add one after all. It wants a done button. So if we're going to do done, it probably wants a take photo button, okay, that we'll click that will cause us to bring up the camera taking user interface. We'll put these somewhere here. Let's put that up there. Let's put this one lined up over there. Put this somewhere. We need a view. I want to have an image view, a UI image view that shows me what I just took with the camera. So let's drag that out. Put that here, let's say. Maybe, I don't know, something like, let's make it square. There, that's a nice square one. But take photo down here. Okay, and then I'm going to have some text fields for the title and subtitle. So let's drag those out. So here's text fields. First time we've used that. But here we go. There's one there. Let's make it a little wider. Something like that. Let's copy and paste for title and subtitle. Let's get a label for each of these things. Here's the subtitle label. And let's copy and paste and do a title label. And then let's line these things up, something like that. We'll line up the baselines probably of our, let's get that out of the way. Let's line up the baselines here, or center is probably just as good. So anyway, so there's our title, there's our subtitle. And now let's create a custom UI view controller subclass so we can wire all this business up to something. So we're going to go here, new, file. And we're going to create a new one. This is going to be a normal UI view controller. It's going to call, let's call it add photo view controller because that's what it does, right? It adds a photo to the database, so that's a good name for it. We'll put it where all the rest of our controllers are. There it is. Okay. This is our new, we don't need any of this boilerplate that it puts in here. Get rid of that. Let's go ahead and set our identity of this thing to be this new add photo view controller. Let's wire up some outlets to point to some of these things. All right, so we need an outlet to both of these text fields, so let's do that. This is our title text field, and we'll wire this one up. This is our subtitle text field. And let's, like the cancel button, let's wire that up, cancel, none. Let's wire up the take photo, none, okay. You know I don't like those like that, so we'll do that. Let's also wire up this image view right here. Okay, I'm also going to do something that I did in image view controller, which I always like to do when I have an image view like that, which is I'm going to have a non-atomic strong UI image star image. Okay, so I'm going to have a property called image, but I'm going to store it in the image view. Same exact thing we do for view controller. So here I'm just going to have, oops, set image. Okay, and it's just going to set in the image view controller and return the image view controller. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to need to do some things when the image is set in the future. So I'm just kind of getting